Radio Eerste Rivier, onze stasie, onze talent, onze mense. WhatsApp ons by 064 536 9095. Talk to us, die ding ruk hier.
Are you a business owner, farmer, employer, or manager? Xolisa helps you with all your labor law and legal compliance needs. Let us take care of your UIF, OHS, BEE, POPI compliance and labor law, so that you can focus on running your business with peace of mind. Visit us at xolisa.co.za. That's SEESA.co.za. Since 1998. Xolisa, your business sorted.
Yo, what up?
We mean so?
Hi!
Us hier. Daniel, also known as Scotty V.
Ik is Joe.
Kennis!
Zijn naam is Gijs D.
Als Radio Eerste Rivier.
Peace.
Now that I have your attention, look, I ain't got a car or a mansion, but a nigga is handsome type. You ain't gotta carry us with looks. Naliwena, nigga, it's a couple and where we shook line. So let us push by. Undercover, but show me you look nice. Keep them guessing, what does she look like? Borrow one for the books. All I'm trying to say is that I'm aging. I'm tired of running around with all these ladies. It's time to settle down. I know this might come off a little crazy, but for when I gotta kiss a lady, girl, you got the crown.
My life for the first time. Don't know how on my chest lived a butterfly away. We so got love. And if you move like a thug, baby, I won't judge. Give me a kiss and a hug. Tell her what you must away. Getting hammered now.
More music, the biggest variety, on your number one radio station.
Radio Eerste.
All right, so it is Monday afternoon. It's 3 o'clock, and therefore it's time for Science and Research with NRF Itemba Labs, located on Old Fora Road. In actual fact, today is a bit of a sad day. I am blessed to have this beauty next to me, but this is our last conversation for the year 2025, and I'm looking forward to hear from you in kind of the ways that we can shape the conversation in 2026. But today, my guest is Xolisa. Nxele. She's a postdoctoral fellow in the Materials Research Department at NRF Itemba Labs, and her focus is in the area of nanoscience and nanotechnology. We're going to get to that a little bit later, but for now, lady, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Dr. G.
Thank you for joining me here. Before we get to the actual nuts and bolts of your research, I just want you to tell us a little bit about, who's Xolisa? Where does she come from? And then more specifically, how did you end up in science?
Thank you so much for having me. Hey, everybody at home. So, Xolisa is a girl from the Eastern Cape in Sterkspruit, specifically in a village called Esilindini. I was raised mainly by my grandmother.
Right.
With my siblings and two cousins. But during the course of our growing up, my brother passed away. He had a brain tumor. Then my journey into science from high school, actually. Our school was... I was the first cohort of my school, for the high school part of it. And so they had told us when we were in grade 11 that they were going to offer us maths and science. Okay. And then when the year started, they told us that it was no longer going to be available. So I was one of the people now who was at the forefront of fighting for having science to be taught in my high school. And so that is where the journey started, and it has continued until I got to where I am today.
Now, if I can ask, saying that you were at the forefront fighting for science, I think if you speak to a lot of young people today, the majority of them would be running away from science.
Yes.
So why would you be pro-science, pro-mathematics?
So I had told myself when I was growing up that I'm going to be an optometrist.
Okay.
And so I knew that one of the requirements for me to achieve that was having maths and science. So when they told us that it was no longer going to be available, I took it upon myself to fight. Like, no, you cannot promise us something and then take it away. Because obviously when the year had started, I could no longer get admission anywhere else. Sure. So, which meant I had to make sure that they followed through on their promise to us.
Okay. Yeah. And in optometry, this is now looking at the eye, right? And trying to improve, I would say, vision.
Yes.
So where did you come across optometrists? Was it a teacher that introduced you, or? Yeah, interesting.
I think because my grandmother struggled so much with her vision growing up, she had to be changing spectacles all the time, and then sometimes she would stay a long time without changing her spectacles. Then it would affect her. She would get headaches and all of those things. So I think she was the main inspiration behind me wanting to be an optometrist.
Right, so it was in a sense looking at the context
at my context
the lived experience.
And wanting to fix what was broken in my lived experience.
Wow.
Yes.
Right. We'll probably come back to this later on, because I think it's an important story. I think there's a guy who once said that your education becomes important and relevant when that education can be connected to a reality.
Yes.
Because
definitely.
in a sense you're trying to answer a why question, or like you say, there was a pain, and through education you hope to address that kind of pain.
Exactly. And for someone that I love and value, you know, so I wanted her to have the best life can offer, and in doing that in a way through my education and reaching out to her.
And tell me,
yeah.
you growing up in a place called Sterkspruit,
Yes.
does that just mean you speak fluent Afrikaans?
Ek probeer maar om Afrikaans te praat. I wouldn't say I'm fluent, but yes.
Okay, but I mean, your Afrikaans is way better than my Xhosa. So, I mean, I would not even attempt. You're already keeping me busy with all the clicks in your name and your surname.
Yes, it's part of the challenge of knowing me.
And then tell me, I mean, growing up in the Eastern Cape, where did you then attend university? Was it in the Eastern Cape? Was it Fort Hare or?
No, from high school I came to UWC, the University of the Western Cape.
Okay.
Yes, which is where I did my undergraduate.
Yeah.
Yes, in medical biosciences.
Okay. So we'll have to unpack that as well a little bit. So biomedical sciences, you did that at UWC, which means that you were completely away from family and friends. Were you the only one moving to the Western Cape?
So fortunately, when I came to Cape Town, my aunt was lecturing in UWC then, in the economics sect part of UWC. And then, so that is how I got to Cape Town, because she was here. So at least I had that support structure when I was coming.
All right.
But later on, she left Cape Town because she had another opportunity at VUT, where she is even right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And you were left behind.
I was left.
And you're still here.
And I'm still here years later.
and I would imagine that the biomedical, or at least the bio in the medical, is that your connection then back to optometry?
Yes.
In a sense.
That is a way that I found to console myself when I didn't really go full stream, because I applied to different universities and I didn't get admission, and UWC was the only university that received me.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick break, because I mean you starting in optometry, it's almost like you saw the light, and we're now gonna wanna dig into so what is it that you're really doing, because you came to UWC, you did biomedical science, and currently you're at Itemba within materials research.
Yes.
So I want us to explore that a little bit, and you have to tell us exactly how you made the shift and exactly what it is that you do at NRF Itemba Labs. But before we continue with our conversation, let's take a quick break, because this lady also enjoys a bit of music. So let's see what she has on her playlist.
Radio Eerste Rivier, onze stasie, onze talent, onze mense. WhatsApp ons by 064 536 9095. Talk to us, die ding ruk hier.
On your number one radio station.
Radio Easter.
All right, so welcome back. If you just joined us, I'm in conversation with Xolisa, who's a postdoctoral fellow in the Materials Research Department. Postdoctoral, of course, means that she already has a PhD, and she's now continuing with her research. She hails from the Eastern Cape, and she said to me that she qualified at the University of the Western Cape with a PhD in biomedical science.
In biotechnology.
Biotech. Okay, now first tell us what did you do for your PhD in biotech?
Okay. So for my PhD, we looked to get biomarkers. So biomarkers are small molecules that cannot be seen with the eye.
Okay.
But when you use some materials in the lab, you can detect it.
Okay.
So what we were looking for is those biomarkers that could detect diabetic cardiomyopathy. So that is a disease of the heart muscle.
Okay.
In people who have diabetes.
Uh-huh.
So we wanted markers that could detect it early enough for people with diabetes to be given therapy so that they don't continue to suffer with problems of the heart as they continue to live.
Okay.
Yes. So we managed to do that with my PhD.
All right. So your world has been a world of trying to see the unseen.
Yes.
And by figuring out certain techniques to have early detection and then to be
Yes,
able to intervene and
yes.
say, okay, how do we prevent this from going into full-on diabetes and affecting the heart and the heart muscle?
So the person already has diabetes,
Okay.
but they don't know that, most people don't know that diabetes affects the whole body.
Sure.
Yes. So in this instance now, is the heart not being able to pump blood properly because it has been affected by the diabetes.
Okay.
So over time, then people start having like heart attacks.
Sure.
But if you use the markers that we found, you can detect it early enough, and then you can have therapy being given to you that will help you with your heart.
Will help you the long term.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So starting off from a biotechnology perspective, looking at diabetes and the heart and trying to impact lives, you are now at NRF Itemba Labs, which in essence is almost like a physical science space.
Yes.
And you sit in materials research.
Yes.
So what has been the transition and what are some of the projects that you are currently working on?
Okay. So I would just want us to go back a bit to my master's work. So in my master's, I worked with plants, particularly sorghum, which is a drought-tolerant plant, and it also is termed an abiotic-resistant plant, which means that it can withstand stresses like when there is drought, like salinity stress, which means there's salt in the soil that it is growing in.
Okay.
Yes. So from there now, I want to connect it with what I'm doing.
Sure.
What we are trying to achieve now is going back to the plants, particularly eucalyptus, which people know as blue gum tree.
All right.
So we take the leaves of eucalyptus and we, using a certain body of natural water, to make what we call in the lab extract, but a tea in simple terms.
Okay.
Yes. And with that tea now, we react it with a chemical, in my case, iron chloride or magnesium sulfate. And ultimately what we want to get is what we call a nanoparticle, something that you cannot see with your naked eye, but can be used, have different applications. Medically, the ones that I'm trying to produce can be used in cancer research, it can be used to clean water, different applications depending on what you have access to and what your interest is.
Okay.
Yes.
So in essence, your journey up to this point has almost prepared you. You've done some of the exposure to plants for the
Yes,
masters, and then in the
yes,
PhD working on
yes.
biomarkers, and now you're almost putting it together and say, how do I make these small things? Previously, you
Yes.
called them biomarkers. Now you call them nanoparticles. and obviously, I think as people are listening to you, the one question that will probably jump up is why?
Okay. And it's an important question. So what we are I'm trying to achieve, and I think other people, other scientists as well are trying to achieve, is to solve problems for society.
Yeah.
And by society, not necessarily the rest of the world, but we want to focus on problems that are affecting us
Okay.
as South Africa
Okay.
and Africa at large.
Okay.
You know, for instance, with sorghum that I mentioned, that it is abiotic stress tolerant, right? Here in Cape Town, we had a day that we were looking forward to that is called Day Zero,
Yeah.
which essentially meant that we had a problem with water.
Okay.
And we know that South Africa is a water scarce country, meaning that not everyone has access to clean water,
Okay.
you know? And when we talk about things like that, and as I mentioned, the materials, the nanoparticles that we are trying to produce, one of the applications can be that, you know, excuse me. So we are saying, essentially, how can we, with science, improve the lives of your everyday person? Because we don't want to say we are doing research in the name of just doing research, but it is not impacting our society.
Okay.
Yes. So we are doing society that speaks to the needs of people. Recently, there was also a publication by Northwest University that they said the water was contaminated with medical, substances. Excuse me. So once again, the nanomaterials that we are trying to produce can be applied in that
Okay.
way. Something that I'm willing to look into to see if it can be used, to clean water from medical waste.
And I mean, I think the other thing that you mentioned, I mean, in terms of producing these nanoparticles, is that in a sense you start from plants. So I would
Yes,
imagine
yes.
somebody might call this a green technology.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is the terminology that is used. And apart from the water scarcity, the other problem is that we have with climate change and the abundance of carbon dioxide in the air.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we are using as we are producing these nanoparticles is carbon dioxide. We want to recycle all the things that people are seeing as, useless, and trying to see how we can improve people's lives by using things that are waste to others. So we are trying to find ways to, recycle.
Sure, so you're even recycling carbon dioxide
Yes,
now. I mean,
yes.
the majority of us are still trying to figure out what to do with our plastics and our glass. But you're saying that, with too much
Yes.
carbon dioxide, you have all these
Yes.
greenhouse gases, which is problematic. And you will come up with a technology to say, how do I extract some of the CO2? And how do I use that then back into the system to, in this
Yes.
case, try and solve problems around better water quality.
Yes.
Now, just in maybe broad terms, I mean, how does the nanoparticle go about cleaning up water? Is it, does it hunt for little specific elements? And
Yes. So there are certain particular elements that we know when you put the nanoparticle with that it can absorb it.
Okay.
But I have not seen where it is used in medical waste,
Okay.
which is particularly my interest
Sure.
at the moment, to say, okay, if we are having things like ARVs in our water, and water is such a scarce resource,
Yeah.
how can we, use these nanoparticles to get that out of our water so that the water can be reused?
Yeah.
Because water is needed in different ways. You need to cook. You need to take a bath. We
That's
need it
right.
for agriculture.
That's right.
Without water, we cannot do agriculture. So, we need water.
So it is a valuable resource, and we have
Yes.
to find ways to protect it, really.
Yes.
And in a sense, also to optimize, because I think, like you say, if you can recycle water, in a sense, by improving the quality, then it's
Yes.
something that can go back into the system again.
Exactly.
Fascinating. So as a scientist, I mean, somebody once said that you guys get paid to be curious. you know.
Yeah.
So how do you keep your curiosity going? I mean, how do you wake up every day and say, ooh, like, I mean, you said it's about solving problems, right? So how do you wake up intentionally, and how do you then go about finding these problems? Or do they come looking for you?
Sometimes they come looking for you, and at other times you look for them. So I think I mentioned earlier that one of the ways that we can also use these nanoparticles that we are producing is through cancer research. And
Okay.
when I was introducing myself, I mentioned that I had a brother and he had a brain
Yes.
tumor,
Yeah.
and it took his life. So when you meet things like that along the way, you don't want another person to go through what you went through, so you try to find solutions that will cater for other people's lives as well, for people's lives to be longer, and the other problem is that many people now, we find many people have cancer from a young age,
Yeah.
and growing up to an older age, meaning that there are long queues
Yeah.
in the government system
Yeah.
for people who are looking for chemotherapy. And we know how chemotherapy, or most people know how chemotherapy actually affects the body. It does not decipher that this cell is the one that is cancerous and this cell is healthy.
Yeah.
So with the nanoparticles now, it can be used as a drug target to send the nanoparticle with the particular drug into the specific cell that is sick, so that
Okay.
the rest of the body does not have to suffer the impact of chemotherapy.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's like looking for the
Yes.
target and then just going to the target.
Going there,
only.
we are sending you to Eerste Rivier,
Yeah.
and you don't go to Gales
Don't
River.
waste time along the way. Just go to Eerste
Yes,
River and
yes.
deliver what you. So I remember, many years ago when people were talking about the laser, they said the laser was the solution that's waiting for a problem. And I think when you talk about nanotechnology now and nanoscience, it almost sounds as if you have this ability on the one side to produce these very small things, which you call nanoparticles, but there's a whole range of applications
Yes.
from water purification into the medical profession, and it's really just so. How big is collaboration in terms
It's
of
very
your
big.
world?
It's very big. Some people have this saying that if you want to walk fast,
Yeah.
walk alone.
Yeah.
But if you want to walk far,
Sure.
go with others.
Wow.
So that is what collaboration does. It makes you to go far.
Okay.
It is very important because I can produce the nanoparticle, but for instance, I do not have the facilities of someone who is already into cancer research
Yeah.
at the moment. So when I collaborate now with that person, then we are able to solve the problem together than for me to work in silos and say, okay, I'm going to need to get a grant that will allow me to build a lab.
Sure.
And then I'm going to start looking at which cancer cell lines I can grow in the lab. It will take me longer
Yeah.
for me to achieve that than when I say, okay, Dr. G, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And you say, we already have the cells.
Yeah.
Then we can just see what can be done.
Wow. So very important to connect with other people.
Definitely.
And to have the communication skills really to listen properly, and then also to be able to present yourself and the research that you're doing.
Ooh, they
yeah.
always say that you need to sell yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, we're learning how
Okay.
to sell ourselves as well.
And of course, it's also about putting yourself out there.
Yes,
And being
yes.
willing to do that. So we now know from a little bit of the story that you shared earlier that, I mean, you have traveled from the Eastern Cape to the Western Cape. And in a sense, science was a thing that got you traveling. So what does your life look like now in terms of traveling? Is science still allowing you to travel and to explore not just Eastern Cape, Western Cape, but the world?
I've not gone out into the world yet.
Sure.
It's one of my aspirations.
Sure.
But science has taken me to different provinces within South Africa.
Yeah.
Yes, to speak about my research and just to see what other people are doing as well. So yes, science has been the vehicle
to move you around,
to move me around,
to get people to pay attention.
Yes,
and I'm sure everybody that's joining us online is actually also fascinated by the story. I mean, it's a story of humble beginnings, but I think it's driven by the need to address a challenge. And again, you shared a little bit of the personal story with death in the family, and also the challenges of a grandmom, and how that in a sense led you to biomedical sciences, and how you in this place now where you are combining your exposure to plants, which was at a master's level, and then again thinking about making small things to impact the system. We're going to now change gears a little bit after our next break, because I want to hear how and what Xolisa has in mind in terms of becoming a role model, because I think this is a fascinating story, and I think there are young people listening to you, and they probably want to know, how can I do what you did? So let's take another break, and then we're gonna chat some more with Xolisa.
More music, the biggest variety, on your number one radio station.
Radio Eastern.
Onze stasie, onze talent, onze mense. WhatsApp ons by 064 536 9095. Talk to us, die ding ruk hier.
All right, so welcome back. I'm in conversation with Xolisa. She's a postdoctoral fellow working in the area of nanoscience and nanotechnology, developing nanoparticles and ultimately hoping to impact the quality of water. But she says there are also other applications, for instance, in the area of cancer research. Now, Xolisa, I mean, you have a fascinating story. I mean, you've shared a little bit of that story this afternoon already. And people often say that when you tell stories, it connects us. It helps us to feel, but it also sometimes, drives people to action. So me looking at you, I see, okay, this is somebody who identifies as female. This is somebody who you could say is African black, somebody in the area of science. And often when you think science, you think it's still this world that's dominated by men. So in your world, I mean, what are some of the challenges and maybe some of the voices that you have to overcome on a daily basis to allow you to flourish in this thing that we call research?
I guess it's your own voice more than outside voices. Your self-talk, what do you believe about yourself? More often than not, we are our biggest critics, you know. You could be the best in something, and then you gauge it by looking at others or comparing yourself to others, and then you determine that, no, what you are doing is not good enough. So I guess overcoming your mental self-talk, to realizing that you can actually do what you set out to do.
Sure.
Yes. And also just surrounding yourself with people who speak well to you, who bounce back positive energy to you instead of some people who will pull you down. So surround yourself with people who are not going to compete with you, but who are going to complement you.
Wow.
You know, because there are many people who are competing with others out there, but the best person you can compete with is your former version.
Yeah.
You know, so you constantly want to improve on who you were yesterday by doing the things that you want to attain. You cannot just attain something because you want it. You need to work towards it. So what are you doing to have what you said you were going to have?
So I think what I'm hearing is the importance of environment and making sure that you surround yourself with the right kind of people that impact you in a positive way.
Definitely.
But then also, as you said, your big challenge of finding a way to silence the inner critic, the one that says,
the one that is
what if it doesn't work? Yeah.
The one that's looking at you in the mirror that says, no, you should rather just sit down, let the others do it.
Yeah, and I think earlier you mentioned that quote of if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, take people with. So who are the people that you take with in terms of your inner circle? So what is your, I must say, your home base, your support that you have around you that helps you to fight this challenge of doubt and waking up every day and wondering, am I good enough, or will they find out that I'm not what I said? A bit of the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
So what do you have in terms of home support?
Home support, I have my husband, I have my children who will tell me that if for instance the other day they were telling me that, Mommy, you need to start exercising again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Unfiltered.
So things like that. You have those type of people, and we just have also just a community of other people, like our church community surrounding us, our neighbors, and so just having those type of people who will tell you the truth when you need to hear it. You know, if you are slacking off, they tell you that, no, this time around you need to pull your socks up. When you are doing well, they cheer you on. You know,
sure.
Yes, we all need those people. We need both.
Yeah.
Then they're not going to start pampering you for not going the extra mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I can quickly go back to your starting point, in terms of when we started the conversation, when you said, listen, you came from this small little place. Has your reality in terms of where you come from, has that been something that has been holding you back, or was that story a story of actually pushing you forward?
There are instances where it pulls me back.
Sure.
And there are certain instances where I use it to encourage myself to pull myself forward.
Okay.
Yes. So sometimes I'll be like, we are from a town that people don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just sit down
Yeah.
in your corner.
Step straight.
Yes. Who knows that straight?
Yeah.
You know. But then there are certain instances where I'm like, no, man. My teachers from my high school need to hear that I'm doing good. You know. I've done A, B, C, and D. When I go back to my school and talk to them, I need to at least give, you know, a proper feedback than to go there and say, "Eish, I failed." What would have been, you know, the whole point of fighting for something that you essentially failed at? You know, so fight for something and make sure that essentially you.
Yeah, because I think
you triumph.
With that being said, it's almost saying that this is at times you have to remind yourself that it's more
Where
than
do
just
I
about
come
you.
from? Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There's a whole generation, there's a whole
Yes.
community that's looking and saying, well, if she can do it, then there's hope for us as well. But I think the
Definitely.
flip side is true. If you fail, then you indirectly tell them, don't even try.
Don't try it.
And like you say,
Yeah.
the thing that I fought for, to say education, science is going to open doors. If that doesn't play out that way, then in essence you say, well, I lied to you and actually lied to myself as well.
Definitely.
Wow, but I mean, I think it's a thing that's either powerful in terms of pushing you, but I think it can also become too much if you like, you know, I'm carrying,
why am I
I'm carrying the
this?
hope of all these
Yes,
people
on my
my
shoulders.
shoulders.
Yeah, yeah. But you just, I tend to remind myself why I started, you know, yeah. So for me, it's looking at the things that I wanted to achieve as a young girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where I am right now and the things I still want to achieve. My daughter said the other day, Mommy, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Wow.
So, which tells me that I'm still growing up.
Yes.
I cannot say that I've reached the ceiling of how the things that I can learn and the things that I can become. And obtaining my PhD does not limit me to this particular thing that I have done. There is so much more to learn in the world.
Yeah, and I can imagine that, you know, the impact in terms of your own context is that when you sit with your kids, you probably end up having different conversations than the kind of conversations that you were exposed to when you were a child.
Yes, definitely.
Because I mean, you've shifted the goalposts in terms of educational awareness, exposure. You know, you've been to a university not just to get a first degree, but to get a postgraduate degree. You know, you've gone through an honors and a master's and a PhD, which means that you could start having a different conversation. Which again is a powerful place to be.
And it also, in a way, puts a bit of pressure on them to.
Yeah, you have to pull up your socks now. Come on.
Yes, so we don't do that in this family
anymore. Yeah, so it's understanding where we come from, but it's also celebrating the growth and the development and how there is a passion to continue on the journey.
Yes.
And like you say, it's not just about you. It's almost like a legacy thing of those who come behind and what they learn from you and how that inspires them.
Definitely. And what I've learned along the way as well is that you don't. I guess I want to emphasize the fact that your success is not yours alone.
Yes.
You know, we go into certain spaces and we start doing things and we think that just because I achieved this, then I'm the successful one.
Yeah.
But there are people who were cheering you on.
That's
you
right.
know, I remember when I was doing my PhD, there were so many times I would call my grandmother and be like, you know, girl, I'm done with this. And she's like, no, you cannot be done. Go back, do it again. Then I would go back. I'm like, I don't want to do it. Then I would look at my son. I'm like, this boy has also sacrificed so much because I'm not there most
Yeah.
of the time in
Yeah.
the house, and
Yeah.
sometimes I come back very late
Yeah.
because I'm in the lab. And so to come back and tell him that I started it and then I did not finish it, why would I have put him through all of that sacrifice and then not follow through?
Yeah, nothing to show for it.
Exactly. So ultimately, when I looked at those things, I said, put your
Yeah.
your socks on, run
And keep going.
until you get to the finish line.
And would I be correct in assuming that grandma does not have a PhD?
Yes, she was a teacher.
Okay.
She's no longer with us now, but she was one of the driving forces. Because she used to call me doctor even before
Wow.
I finished the PhD. So everyone in my village knew that I was a doctor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Ugh, if only you knew."
Speak it to life.
Yeah.
Well, but
So
I mean,
that's what she
and
was
again, I think
doing.
it's fascinating how somebody who's, I mean, obviously your grandma would have had a solid understanding of the value of education.
Yes.
But how somebody like that ends up inspiring you to achieve something which they themselves have not achieved. But again, like you say, in terms of your context, and if you look at your generations and the growth in the family, you can say that, within 2 generations, we now have PhDs.
Yes.
Which is just an amazing, thing to celebrate, and to be able to look back and say, wow, look at how far we've
Yes,
come.
because-
So you mentioned earlier that you have not yet traveled, or that's still an aspiration in terms of going
Internationally,
abroad
yes.
and getting on international stages. Apart from that, is there other stuff that's on a bucket list of I still want to, as I'm growing up, I still want to do A, B, C, D, apart from driving your own Lamborghini and I don't know what else.
And having a house next to the sea somewhere.
Yes.
I think one of my biggest desires is to be able to take science to our communities.
Sure.
Take what we have achieved in the labs to be mainstream, like I said earlier, with what we are producing now, the nanoparticles, that everyone who is suffering from cancer or any other disease that we want to tackle with our the nanoparticles, that they don't have to die young or old when we have a solution, because many people do not have access
Yeah.
to these things. One thing that I did not mention with my PhD research as well was that most people don't have access to the kind of machines that can detect diabetic cardiomyopathy early. So if we can get things that can make it easier for people to have a good life, because no one wants to live their life in pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I could just achieve that, and also have young children, speak to young children, show them how science can be fun, but also the other side of science,
Yeah.
that it needs you to have tenacity,
Yeah.
to go back to the drawing board and do it again and again, look at different ways, what did not work
Yeah.
and what has worked.
Yeah.
I was telling you earlier before we got on the air that we started making these nanoparticles, and I think for 3 or 4 times we did not get anything tangible.
Sure.
So we kept on going back to the drawing board. Okay, so what did we do this time? We say we did A, B, C, and D, and it did not work.
Yeah.
And then next time we try and change one of the parameters. Okay, then ultimately we got something that is close to,
Yeah.
but is not ultimately what we are
Yeah.
looking for. But our what we've told ourselves was that we may not have reached our ultimate goal, but this one is a step in
Yeah.
the right direction.
Yeah.
So that is what science does to you. It makes you go back to the drawing
Yeah.
board. You don't do things one time and they work. you have to go back and start again and say, okay, this is what I did.
Yeah.
It did not work. And much more like life.
Yeah.
Life sometimes does not work the way that you set out,
Yes.
that it's going to go this way. But you have to go back to the drawing board and
there's still opportunity to
keep
learn.
on keeping on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it probably sits in the name, right? Research again and again.
Exactly.
Go back
and
again.
Yeah.
And sometimes a non-result is also a result.
A result, definitely.
So just quickly, I mean, you spoke about your passion or your commitment to connect with communities and to help people understand not just the science, but to be able to talk about the impact and to make things accessible. How important is it for mother tongue?
Yeah, definitely.
And what are some of the things that you think we can do to help facilitate the development of mother tongue as a science language?
Ooh, yeah, that one is very important.
Sure.
There are so many young children in the rural areas who do not understand certain things, not because they do not have the mental capacity to grasp them, but because of the language with which they are presented to them. You know, for us, before you start talking, you need to speak now in English, and then science is another language, and then
Translate.
you come to understanding it. You do 3 conversions before you actually get to the answer. So if they can have someone speaking to them in Xhosa or in Sesotho, Chivenda, whichever language is their mother language, I think, mother tongue rather, I think that would really help and go a long way.
Yeah, because there's lots of translations.
Yes.
Look at the thing, and then the language is English,
Yes.
and then translate, and then back again.
Yes.
In order for you, wow! So it's a whole process. But again, I think it's good to have people like you and of your caliber who's done the science and who can hopefully help us to say, if we can't find a term or a word in, let's say, in
Xhosa
for a specific thing, how do we use the language to describe?
Yes,
so that
definitely.
people still get an understanding and appreciation without, as you said,
Losing the science.
watering down the science, because
Yes.
we want to make things fun, and sometimes we also have to say, it's fun for people who know what it's about, but sometimes fun is also painful because it's the struggle. And it's the need to keep on going. Listen, I'm gonna let you go, but I would like to get from you just maybe in a couple of sentences. My personal view is that success is something personal. It's personal to the person. So your take on what success is for you, but then more importantly, what is it that young people can do to find that connection with self? What is important to me, and how do I prioritize my own life in a sense? So your view on what is success for you, and what is it that young people can think about as they start planning what success would be for them?
Success for me is living out purpose.
Sure.
So if you don't know your purpose, then you cannot be successful.
Yeah.
So that is number one, purpose. You need to know what drives you, why are you here, and also not deviating just because you are seeing other people do certain things. There's the pressure to fit in most of the time.
Yeah.
And with trying to fit in, we can lose ourselves. So I'd say don't lose yourself because you are seeing your best friend being A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Learn from those who are ahead of you.
Yeah.
They like to say we stand on the shoulders of giants. So you don't have to go through certain things in life. They say also experience is a teacher.
Yeah.
But you don't have to get certain experiences to learn.
Yeah.
So you can learn from other people's experience and go faster, which is how also collaboration comes into play. you have a lot of experience in science communication. If I want to go into that sector, you can tell me that, okay, do not go there because you're going to bump your foot when you get there.
Yeah.
So do it this way, do it that way.
Make new mistakes.
Yes,
Yeah.
make fewer mistakes
Yeah.
because I have made them.
Yes.
So, yeah, you don't have to go through certain things. Work at what you want to achieve. It does not, it cannot come to pass just because you want it. You have to work for it.
Sure.
And get yourself help. When you need help, ask for help.
Wow.
Yes. Don't sit in isolation somewhere and think that things are just going to happen. Ask for help.
Yeah.
It makes things easier and it makes the load lighter.
Wow.
Yes.
Xolisa, thank you very, very much for your time, and I think also for your story and your wisdom. I think as we in the season of Advent, and we think about gifts, thank you for being a gift to us, being a gift to the audience, and for just sharing your story. The sense that we have to connect, we have to collaborate, but we have to get a sense of what is it that's important to us. What is our own purpose, our own vision for our own lives, and then we have to commit to that vision. And like you said, partner with people who impact your life, or in a positive way. And I think somewhere in a big book it says, do not conform to this world,
Yes.
but rather be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for opening up your world to us so that we can get some understanding of this world of the very small nanoparticles and how these things can be used to impact the world and to improve the health of people. So thank you for your time. For you listening, thanks for joining us. And as you said, this is unfortunately our last conversation for 2025. We hope to be back next year. And I'm looking forward to hear from you via our friends here at Radio Eerste. So let us know if there are specific conversations that you want us to have so that we can facilitate those conversations. I'm Dr. G, and this was Science and Research with NRF Itemba Labs.
Siyafumaneka bantu, siyafumaneka. Guys, inombolo yethu ngu-064 536 9095.
I just want to speak the name of Jesus over every heart and every mind, 'cause I know there is peace within your presence. I speak Jesus. I just want to speak the name of Jesus till every dark addiction starts to break, declaring there is hope and there is freedom. I speak Jesus. By
'cause your name is power, your name is life. Break every stronghold, shine through the shadows, burn like a fire. I just wanna speak the name of Jesus over fear and all anxiety. To every soul held captive by depression, I speak Jesus.
streets. Jesus in the darkness over every enemy. Jesus for my family, I speak the holy name. Jesus.